My name is Chris Swanson. This is my senior seminar critical review presentation. I'm critically reviewing Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. A little bit of background about Rachel Carson. She was an American marine biologist, author, and conservationist. She began her career as an aquatic biologist in the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries and a full-time nature writer in 1950, winning awards with the books The Sea Around Us and Under the Sea Wind. In the late 1950s, she turned her attention towards conservation because of the problems in the environment she believed to be caused by synthetic pesticides. In the second half of World War II, there was a chemical known as dichloryl dimethyl-trichloroethane, or DDT, that was used to control malaria and typhus-spreading insects. Swiss chemist named Paul Hermann Müller discovered that the application of DDT could be effective pesticides when used on crops. Marketing this pesticide led to commonly used crops and livestock production, institutions, homes, and gardens. This led to overuse without the known side effects of what it costs the environment. Rachel Carson did an investigation into the side effects of DDT and other synthetic pesticides. The results of her investigation was written to the book titled Silent Spring. This is a picture of the book Silent Spring and a picture of Rachel Carson right next to it. Rachel Carson's Silent Spring uses realistic examples with solid facts, made the information understandable to the average person, and warned society of cannot control nature to try to persuade readers of the dangers of unrestricted use of chemicals to the environment. She did an amazing job doing this based on the public response for change and a direct impact it had on its time to help ignite the modern environmental movement in America. One of the realistic examples she used is no responsible person contends that insect-borne disease should be ignored. The question that has now urgently presented itself is whether it is either wise or responsible to attack the problem by methods that are rapidly making it worse. The world has heard much of the triumphant war against disease through the control of insect vectors of infection, but has heard little of the other side of the story, the defeats. The short-lived triumphs are now strongly supported the alarming view the insect enemy has made actual stronger by our efforts. Even worse, we may have destroyed our very means of fighting. In this quote, Rachel Carson is trying to say that the indiscriminate use of synthetic pesticides that eventually the insects will develop a resistance to the pesticide itself, rendering it useless and creating a stronger version of the insect who is resistant to stronger chemicals. Another example is how could intelligent beings seek to control a few unwanted species by a method that contaminated the entire environment and brought a threat to disease and death even on their own kind. This quote from the text relates to indiscriminate usage of pesticides without the knowledge of where the chemical ends its use. Through her research, she found farm runoff was making it into streams and becoming part of the fish that inhabit. Birds would eat the fish and have the very essence of the pesticide become one with them. The side effect of the pesticide would cause a calcium shortage in the eggs of the birds and cause the eggs to become brittle and unable to produce life. Another example is a who's who of pesticides is therefore of concern to us all. If we're going to live so intimately with these chemicals, eating and drinking them, taking them into our very marrow of our bones, we had better know something about their nature and their power. This quote explains itself that we so freely use this product, we should be familiar with the effect it has with it. People often use chemicals without knowing the makeup of what it can potentially do. Even in today's world, people use chemicals without knowledge of its makeup but rely on the manufacturer's warning and test to ensure it's a safe product. She made Silent Spring relatable to the average person. Her writing style is very relatable to the average person. She began the novel with the fabled town that draws the reader in. This town is the heart of America, where all life lives in harmony with its surroundings. The town students it comes to a blight that destroys all life and turns the town into a wasteland. She ends the chapter stating that this is no witchcraft. No enemy action has silenced the rebirth and new life of the stricken world that people have done that to themselves. The narrative of the story-driven approach appealed to the audience that she needed to capture. The science of her book was already known amongst the scientific community, so she had to write it in a way that the avid public could read it. The book still sells at a rate of about 20,000 copies per year. Rachel Carson molds her message in a way that relates to a person she is trying to speak to. In one chapter, she writes about the death of birds and other animals as a byproduct of DDT, and it appeals to a nature audience that, with the use of DDT, they only wanted to get rid of insects, but the visual she uses in text paints a picture that use of these chemicals kill insects is like spraying directly onto the birds themselves, such as this picture right here. Shortly after the publication of Silent Spring, President Kennedy formed a committee to look into research behind the book and into the government agencies and ensure the parties were doing what they could to limit pollution to the environment. On May 15, 1963, President Kennedy released a 46-page report, the Science Advisory Committee, titled Use of Pesticides, supporting Rachel Carson's research and the ideal of Silent Spring. Every once in a while in the history of mankind, a book appears in which substantially alters the course of history. Senator Ernest Grueling, a Democrat from Alaska, told Carson at this time. Silent Spring led to a ban of the chemical DDT, which had the effect to increase the population of many bird species and management, including the American bald eagle. Silent Spring helped foster a modern environmental movement and the birth of Environmental Protection Agency. The book Silent Spring is referred to today as a cornerstone of the modern environmental movement. It is used as a synonym with other environmental movements, a testament to the impact it had. How would the world be today if Rachel Carson didn't write Silent Spring?